Welcome to the final round of the National Under-9 Championships 2025 happening in Gurugram. With the white pieces is Vamshika Boga from Telangana, and with the black pieces is Girisha Pai from Maharashtra. Girisha is currently leading the tournament and plays the perk defense against her opponent. Girisha has a 1 point lead over the field. She's on 9.5 out of 10, and she is confidently just moved her knight to f6. But this round is important for her, for if she loses and Nakshatra wins her game, then that means that Girisha would be second. So important for her to do well. Bishop f4. Now this is not a very common way to play the perk. Bishop e3 or bishop g5 is played more often, but bishop f4 might also be a great line that Vamshika has gone for. c6 played. A very interesting move, wanting to play b5. Knight comes out to f3. And now Girisha brings her bishop to g7. How is white going to continue here? Queen d2. So Vamshika is actually mixing up, like playing positionally with knight f3, but also aggressively with bringing her bishop out and long castling. We have b5 on the board with the idea of pushing b4. a3 played, and that's a useful move, stopping b4. And Girisha castles. Well, she's fearless. Maybe there are some ideas with h4, h5, but not so easy to make that happen. Bishop h6 also could be possible. Let's see what Vamshika does. She plays her bishop to d3. I like this move as well, because you just put the bishop on a good square, defend the pawn, maybe clear yourself to castle shot. Bishop comes out to b7, and later black is hoping for a6 and c5 break to unleash the bishop on this long diagonal. White castles here. And I think it's time to finish your development. She goes a6. She doesn't play knight d7 first. Pushes her pawn to a6. And queen comes to e2. Maybe the plan is to push in the center with e5. Although I was a big fan of this bishop h6 idea. Knight d7 played. And do we have e5 possible here? I think the stage is set, yeah. e5. If the knight moves to h5, you can go bishop g5. Oh, she pushes it. She does push it. Vamshika has played a good move here. Now you mustn't take. I think better to go knight h5, and she finds it. Knight h5 played. This game is pretty good quality here. Now bishop g5 makes a lot of sense, putting pressure on the e7 point, threatening e takes d6. But Vamshika goes bishop g3, and not a great move, because I can take, and push c5. Girisha finds that move. Knight takes g3 played. Good move. But more importantly, will she be able to find the move c5 is the big question. Because that one is an important move to be made here to open up the bishop. And she finds it. c5 is on the board. Well done, Girisha. That's a great move. The bishop is now open, and white's center is being attacked. e6 by Vamshika. What a move. But c takes d4 is a great move, because if you take on d7, I'll take on c3. C takes d4 makes a lot of sense, but she decides to give up that bishop. Not so sure. G takes f3. And then white seems to be doing okay here. But Vamshika, a little bit unsure, takes it with the queen. And that's not a great move, because now c takes d4 is possible. First plays fe6 as well. That's a good move. Attacking the queen. Queen comes up to e4. attacking the pawn on e6. But Girisha is super alert and plays e5, and now black is just a pawn up. If you take here, I take with the knight. If you take here, I take with the knight. And overall, a wonderful position. She takes on e5. The knight takes e5 makes a lot of sense here. And I think she says, I just want to go to the washroom and come. Look at the time that Girisha has on her clock. She has 1 hour 19 minutes. She's like speeding through. Like a speed run for her. Queen goes to g4. And her idea now is to perhaps look at some sacrifices here. These can be a little bit dangerous, but knight to f6, hitting the queen. Queen goes to g5. And now certain threats here could be possible. He goes king g7. And e6, knight d5, something like that in the center could be possible. But for now, very stable play. And Vamshika has to find where is her counterplay coming from. She goes king h2. I'm not so sure what is her plan. Maybe she just wants to push f4. King on h2. Maybe just getting out from this diagonal. I like this very safe and secure move, e6. So it opens up the queen's path. It's one thing to get an advantage, but quite another to convert it. f4 played. White is pushing, trying to get some play on the king side. Girisha gives up her bishop for the knight. It's nice to see that she is not really attached to that strong bishop. Pawn takes, and now just knight d5 is super strong as a move. Finds it. Very well done. Amazing move. Because now you are offering a trade of queens. You are attacking the pawn on c3. And if you go back with your queen here, there's a fork lurking. So queen takes queen is necessary. Again, the clock timings show Girisha playing super quick. Of course, you can think a lot, but also sometimes playing quick is a sign of great talent, because they are able to make good decisions quickly. Rook e1 played, attacking the pawn on e6. Now knight takes c3. There could be rook takes e6. Perhaps you just want to protect this pawn. Oh, c4 played. c4, the bishop on d3 can go back. She goes bishop e2, but that just blocks the rook's path, which means that now you can snatch the pawn on c3. She goes rook e8, trying to be very, very solid and sure. Maybe the idea, I get it. If knight c3, Vamshika wanted to go bishop g4, putting pressure here. But rook e8, a4 played. Now taking on c3. A takes b5. Now taking back on b5 makes a lot of sense. You can also go for the intermediate knight e2. Yeah, that's what she does. Knight takes e2. The time difference is huge. 1 hour 13 minutes for Girisha. 13 minutes for Vamshika. Takes on e2. A takes b5. Getting the pawns together. Black is 2 pawns up. Rook b1, putting pressure on the b5 pawn. And maybe rook b8. Yes, she brings her rook to b8. Next, bring your king into the center, get your central pawns rolling. c3. And rook to b6. The rook comes to d2. But what really is it attacking? This is defended, so I can actually take the open file now. Rook a8. Yes, great move there. Girisha moving confidently towards her national title. First ever title, and a draw would also get her the title, but now that she has such a good position, she'll of course try to get the full point. And that full point would make her move to 10.5 out of 11, which would be a huge score. Rook a3 played. Attacking the pawn on c3. Rook goes to c2. King comes into f6. That's the right way to go in the end games. You activate your king. Vamshika goes g4. And now calmly bringing the king over. King d7, king c6. No hurry. King f2. King d7. King e3. And now you can see that she can continue with king c6, but also this pawn is pinned here. So very alert. Girisha is super alert. You can't take on b4. Pawn takes and this is pinned here. King d4 played, trying to get to the c4 pawn. Now rook takes c3 is a very interesting move, by the way. Just to show this, takes, and you can give up your rook and c2 works. Pawn queens. But anyway, b3 by Girisha, also a nice move. Rook b2. And now c4 is hanging, so she defends it with her rook. Rook h1, trying to find counterplay down the h file. Makes sense. King c6. Girisha's time still at 1 hour 11 minutes. If you take on h7, I guess she wants to go rook a2. Takes. But there is rook a7. Need to be careful here a bit. So g3. I wonder why Vamshika didn't take this pawn. Could have been a nice move. Rook a6. And now she takes it. Takes it off. And now Girisha is thinking about what she must do here. Plays her rook to a2, offering the rook for trade. Vamshika needs to come back, because if rook takes rook, she comes back with the rook here. That was her point of g3. So she could come back here. So now rook takes b2 is possible to trade one pair of rooks. But king b5 is also a very nice move, defending the c4 pawn and preparing takes, and the rook entering. g5 played here by white. Now takes. Seven minutes for Vamshika, 1 hour 10 minutes for Girisha. Rook a2 played. So professionally doing this. The rook comes back to b1. And the rook moves in to give a check. Nice intermezzo, yeah. Intermediate move, king e4. And now you just go rook d3 with the idea of picking up c3 and g3. g4 played here. Rook takes c3. So you have two connected passers. f5 takes. Takes. Take on f5. King takes. And now the rook goes behind the pawn, stopping this from running. And while white is moving forward with g6, black's pawns, which are together, are way stronger. I love this move, king b3, king b4, with the idea of c3, c2. King f6, white is also trying to rush her pawns, but it's a bit too slow. Girisha's pawns are super quick. Also, her moves are super quick. She's at 1 hour 13 minutes. c2 played. Takes the pawn, and now I think it's time to make a queen. Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful. Opponent gives the queen here. And check. King c5. Rook b7. Queen comes to g5 with a check. King f7. And now queen takes g6. King moves to f8. They do play till the end, and look at her time on the clock. Girisha, well, in effect, has just used 15 minutes of her time for this crucial final round, and she takes on f7, checkmates her opponent.
I am Girisha Pai. I am from Maharashtra. I am 9 years old, and I won the under-9 Maharashtra state I am the under-9 Maharashtra state champion. This is my first national selection tournament. I enjoyed it a lot. I thank the Haryana Chess Association for organizing such a wonderful tournament. I loved playing with everyone in Haryana.
This is your first national tournament, right?
Yes.
And you won it.
Yes.
Yeah. How are you feeling right now?
I am feeling very nice.
You are feeling very nice?
Yeah.
How was your tournament experience by far?
I enjoyed playing with everyone. Some of the games were a bit challenging, but otherwise it went very smooth.
Any favorite games?
No, I enjoyed playing with everyone.
You enjoyed playing with everyone. So Girisha, it is not very common that you play the national and you won it, and you have done it. You have played amazing throughout the event. Tell us something about your preparation of this tournament and your mindset.
I did a lot of preparation from the last 6 months. I sat with my dad to do the chess practice. For the nationals, I did practice for the opening. I strengthened it. Midgame was of course my favorite part because I love tactics, and I also strengthened my endgame. That preparation also helped me to win my states.
Okay. And the last question is, what are your further plans? In which event you are playing next, and or are you just going to practice again for a few months?
I don't have any specific plans, but I love playing chess. So whatever tournaments are there coming in the future, I will play all of them. I also would like to thank my cool devata, that is Kamakshi Devi, my dad and my mom, and also the ChessBase India and its software and all the videos, because they are all inspirational.
Okay, thank you so much for joining. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.